Ask you one question, and I want you to answer it out loud wherever you're watching this. Ready? What do you do? If you're like most people, especially after a long corporate career, what just came out probably sounded like this. I was the head of, I led the regional, I spent 20 years in. Am I close? That is not your expertise. That is your address. And the gap between those two things, between where you sat and what you actually know, is exactly what we are solving today. Here is why that happens. And I want you to hear this clearly. This is not about confidence. For 15, 20 years, you did not need to answer that question yourself. Your title answered it. Your organization provided the context. The brand behind your name did the heavy lifting before you even opened your mouth. So your brain learned efficiently, rationally, to reach for the title first. Because inside the institution, the title was the right answer. The problem is that outside the institution, the title means almost nothing to anyone who is not already in your building. And your brain has not yet learned a different answer. Not because the answer does not exist, but because nobody has ever asked you the right questions in the right order to pull it out. That is what the next 10 minutes are for. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Amber, 25 years in institutional banking. When she came to our session, I asked her the same question I just asked you. What do you do? She said, I'm good at risk management. That is a title answer, wearing casual clothes. It describes a function. It does not describe a method. It does not name a problem. It does not tell me who needs her or what it costs them not to have her. So I stayed with her. What kind of risk? Portfolio risk, she said. Then I asked her, what specifically about portfolio risk? She paused, shifted, and then something moved. I am the person they call when a portfolio is failing and nobody can figure out why. Okay, we're getting warmer. We're getting warmer. What do you do when they call you? I asked her. And then she said, I look at the people first. Who is not speaking in the meetings? Who's sitting on data? Then I look at the reporting lag. Then, and only then, do I look at the numbers. Most people go straight to the numbers. I never do. That is a method. That is teachable. That is transferable. That is intellectual property. And she had been doing it on autopilot for 25 years without ever naming it. Now, I want to ask you, watching this right now, what is your version of that? Not the function, not the department, not the years of service. The specific thing you do that others call instinct, but you could actually teach. I want you to write it down on your phone, in a notebook, wherever you keep your notes, even if it is rough, even if it feels incomplete. Because here is what I need you to understand about what just happened with Amber. She did not find that answer because the questions were clever. She found it because there's a process I take every client through that moves them past the rehearsed answer, past the title, past the years of institutional conditioning, to the answer that was always there. That process, unfortunately, cannot happen fully in a YouTube video, not because the questions are secret, mostly because the real work is not about knowing more. The real work is about trusting what you already know, enough to own it, out loud, on paper, in a way that can stand alone. Here is what you can do right now. You can do a first pass. And a good first pass changes everything because it shows you exactly where you are and exactly where the work needs to happen. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Write your answers down as we go. Ready? Question 1. What is the one problem you have solved more times than anyone else in the room? Not what you're good at. The specific recurring challenge that kept showing up in different organizations, different teams, different countries that you navigated better than almost anyone you know. Write that down. Question 2. What is the sequence you follow that others skip? I want you to look at the problem you just wrote. Now slow down how you solve it. What do you look at first? What do you always check that others miss? What is your order of operations? That sequence is your framework. Write it down even if it feels obvious to you, especially if it feels obvious to you. Question 3. Who specifically needs that method right now, and what does it cost them not to have it? I want you to name the role, name the situation, name what happens to them if they do not solve this problem in the next 90 days. Great. Now look at what you have written. You have a problem, you have a method, you have an audience. That is a genuinely strong first pass. And I want to honor that because most senior professionals have never written those 3 things down in the same place at the same time. That matters. But I also want to be honest with you about what you're looking at. Read your answer to question 1 back to yourself. Does it describe the method, or does it still describe the function? Does it sound like something you could charge for, or does it still sound like something you used to get paid a salary to do inside a building? If you're not sure, that uncertainty is the information. Here's what I see every time I run this exercise with senior professionals. The first answer is almost always still wearing the title's clothes. It is closer, it is warmer, but it is not yet the thing. And the space between the first answer and the real answer, that space is not closed by more thinking. It is closed by the right questions, in the right order, from someone sitting across from you who will not let you stop at almost. And that is what the Legacy Blueprint session does. Not the 3 questions, you have those now. What I bring is a process that moves you past the rehearsed answer to the thing underneath that has been driving every significant decision you have made for the last 15, 20 years. She did not find her method by thinking harder. She found it when she stopped performing the answer and started trusting what she already knew. That is the work, and that is what 90 minutes does. And when you name that thing, everything else, the book, the advisory model, the framework, the pitch, becomes obvious. Not easy, but obvious. When the IP is named, not almost named, but actually named, here's what opens up. Your book, because now you know what it is actually about. Your advisory model, because now you can describe what you're selling and to whom. Your content, because now every post, every talk, every article is an expression of one coherent body of thought, not a collection of things you know. Your pitch, because now when someone asks what you do, you answer with the method, not the title. What I mean by a living legacy, not a personal brand, not a following. Something structurally yours that exists independently of the last organization that employed you and that grows every time you use it. Your IP is the seed. The blueprint session is where we name it properly. Before you close this video, I want you to look at your 3 answers one more time. If they feel almost right, you're closer than you think. And almost right is exactly where I start. I take a limited number of legacy blueprint sessions each month because I do this work personally on a one-on-one basis. If this resonates with you, I would encourage you to book while there is space. The legacy blueprint session is 90 minutes, one conversation. I take you through the process that moves you from almost right to named, structured, and ready to build from. You leave with a blueprint that is yours. Within 48 hours, you receive a formal project roadmap, scope, timeline, and investment. So you know exactly what you will be building and how, even if we don't do it together. The link is in the description. You have been describing where you sat for years. It is time to describe what you know. Come and finish it. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you know when I drop a new video, and share.